Chapter 331, A Fingerprint. Dad, where's Grandma? During dinner, the son suddenly asked because he had been having meals with Grandma for the past 2 or 3 days, and he had gotten used to it. Your grandma is in the hospital because she's sick and won't be coming home. Can I go see Grandma? Not now, because your grandma has been taken to a hospital far away for treatment. Dad, I miss Grandma. Yeah, me too. Finish your meal and then continue practicing your writing. Can I skip practicing? I'll practice when Grandma comes back. No, you should practice your writing. Grandma will be happy to see you write well when she comes back. Okay, I'll practice then. Dad, I miss Mom. Can I chat with Mom? Wait a moment. Looking at the clock, Fang Hao had to consider the time difference. At 9 o'clock, after giving his son a bath, Fang Hao video called his ex-wife, allowing their son to chat with her. Fulfilling his son's longing for his mother, Fang Hao let his son watch the computer in bed while he went to the study to talk with his ex-wife. How's my mom? His ex-wife asked. I didn't have a chance to check or see any medical reports. Your uncles are too dominant, they won't let an outsider like me be present, let alone discuss treatment. Su-ro, what exactly happened? I don't know. How can you not know? Is there anything you don't know? Your mom went to Tianyi Hospital, and that's your territory with your old lover. You can't not know. Honey, I'm in the United States now. Look, I'm taking care of Yue Xia. His ex-wife switched the video to their daughter, who was awake. Upon seeing Fang Hao, she weakly called him Dad and then became silent, unable to speak, but tears flowed continuously. Fang Hao also felt uneasy. He wanted to comfort her but suddenly saw something suspicious. He immediately accused Su-ro, saying, You liar. The last video you sent was of Jiao in Tianyi Hospital, not you in the United States. Honey, the doctor is here. Let's not talk for now. I'll come back to the country as soon as possible, and we can talk then. His ex-wife hung up the call. Fang Hao tried to initiate another video call, but his ex-wife didn't answer. He went back to open the previous video where Yue Xia cried for her dad. The background of the hospital bed was different from the one in the United States just now, but it was exactly the same as the ward he saw when he entered Tianyi Hospital. Therefore, he concluded that Su-ro had saved this sentimental video and would release it at a critical moment to disturb Fang Hao's emotions. That night, his son went to Tianyi Hospital with Zhou Fen. Su-ro couldn't hide the fact that Yue Xia was ill, and the little video happened to be played, making both parents and Fang Hao unable to blame her. A wife's heart is like a needle. Fang Hao could also see that although his ex-wife was concerned, she wasn't afraid. This indicated that Zhou Fen's illness and coma were unrelated to her affair with Zhang Lingtian. He lit a cigarette and thought that his ex-wife's return this time might be for the final accompaniment to Zhou Fen. At the same time, without the obstacle of Zhou Fen, it was likely that his ex-wife and Zhang Lingtian could openly acknowledge their relationship. It must be so. But, would I let things go as you wish? Fang Hao put his son to sleep and then asked Li Jun to come up. I noticed some strange scars on your cousin's back when I was treating her today. I want to visit the scene where she fell from the building, Fang Hao said. No problem, I can take you there now. But Professor Zhou is sick, and there's no one to take care of your son. Can that work? Li Jun, frustrated and anxious due to the lack of progress in the investigation, replied. I've arranged that. Someone will come to take care of him soon, Fang Hao assured. Earlier, Fang Hao had contacted the young woman from the Zhou family, who seemed to have gained Zhou Fen's trust. Moreover, she appeared kind and attentive, and most importantly, she could communicate well with his son. Li Jun went to prepare, and soon the young woman from the Zhou family arrived. She didn't ask Fang Hao why he wanted to go out, as she had seen the police car parked downstairs. Li Jun handed over a new police uniform for Fang Hao to wear. In the location where the woman had fallen, local police were guarding the area, and outsiders were not allowed to enter without proper identification. The scene was a 3-story standalone villa. The distance between each villa was significant, and even if something happened inside, neighbors wouldn't hear it, no matter how loud the noise. Li Jun negotiated with the on-site police officers, and once they stepped aside, he and Fang Hao broke the seal and entered the scene. The place was very clean, almost like it was ready for someone to move in. Did you guys clean up here? Fang Hao asked. No, when we arrived, someone had already cleaned up. The anti-investigation techniques used by the opposite party were very professional, and we couldn't find any useful clues, Li Jun explained. Fang Hao walked through the house and then began searching for injuries on Cheng Yu's body, but due to the scene being tidied up, the results were minimal. However, when he reached the balcony and observed the posture of the fall below, he had a sudden insight. He found something along the lower edge of the balcony and said, "Come and take a look. Can we extract fingerprints from this?" Li Jun came over and found fingerprints on the lower edge of the balcony railing, where the cleaning had missed. These past 2 days had been dry, with no wind or rain, making it possible for the fingerprints to be preserved. Li Jun professionally collected the fingerprints, saying, "Dr. Fang, you're really amazing. If I had known, I would have had you come that day, maybe we could have discovered more clues. This fingerprint should belong to the person who pushed my cousin down the stairs." After that, the person was panting, leaned out to look, and had to grab this railing tightly to avoid falling. "Go back and compare it to see whose fingerprint it is," Fang Hao nodded. Invisible fingerprints like these often became the weak link that led to the exposure of the perpetrator. Even if it might not be the killer, the person must explain why their fingerprints were at the scene. On the way back, Li Jun received a message. After reading it, he said to Fang Hao, "You asked me to pay attention to your ex-wife using her ID for air travel. Just now, my colleague from the aviation side sent me a message. Your ex-wife bought a ticket for a flight 2 hours later, heading to the Capital International Airport. Are you going to pick her up tomorrow?" Su Ro did say she would come back as soon as possible, and indeed, she had bought a ticket. Fang Hao responded, "No, she's already my ex-wife. Why bother caring so much?" "That's true," Li Jun agreed. Li Jun didn't want Fang Hao to go to the capital, otherwise, he would have to follow. If Fang Hao stayed here, it wouldn't delay the treatment for his grandmother and cousin. Li Jun returned to the Criminal Investigation Center, entered the fingerprint database, uploaded the collected fingerprint, and after a comparison, he confirmed the identity of the person, Zhang Lingtian. It was indeed him. However, Li Jun had doubts because Zhang Lingtian had an alibi. How could his fingerprints be left behind now? Unable to figure it out, he decided to ask Fang Hao for advice and discuss it with him. If the time of Cheng Yu's fall is not the time you guys confirmed during the survey, what if there are no direct witnesses? The timing can't be accurately determined. With well-developed urban transportation, even if there's a difference of half an hour, you can go from the east to the west of the city. Go arrest him and also the person who provided Zhang Lingtian's alibi, Fang Hao suggested. That's Li Wei, an elder from his family. We have no direct evidence, so we can't arrest him. I'll report and arrest Zhang Lingtian first, Li Jun said. Li Bei. Is this old guy still alive? Is he also involved with Zhang Lingtian? Fang Hao's brow furrowed, he had not expected this situation. But he also looked forward to how Zhang Lingtian would respond next. Chapter 332, Arrest and Framing. Originally, Old Master Cheng had a deep dissatisfaction with Zhang Lingtian. So, with the breakthrough of fingerprints, he immediately had Li Jun lead a team to arrest Zhang Lingtian in the suburbs that night. Fang Hao wanted to witness Zhang Lingtian's arrest in person, so he persuaded Li Jun for quite a while, and after obtaining permission, he changed into detective attire, complete with shoulder patches and a hat, disguising himself as a detective and followed Li Jun. Li Jun instructed him not to say anything if something happened and just maintain order at the scene. In this country, the power of the legal system was unmatched. The police stopped the security guards at the entrance of the nursing home and went directly to Zhang Lingtian's convalescent villa. In a rush, they stormed in and captured the already asleep Zhang Lingtian from his bed. However, to everyone's surprise, there was a young girl accompanying him. When Fang Hao saw the panic on the girl's pretty face, he was more surprised than anyone because this was the beautiful nurse Xiaoyang who had provided him with convenience some time ago. Initially, he had a favorable impression of this seemingly innocent nurse. However, he changed his opinion completely when he unintentionally saw Xiaoyang at an intersection, cozying up to a leader from the nursing home. Now, seeing Xiaoyang sleeping naked with Zhang Lingtian, he felt even more disgust and contempt towards her. Despicable people really have no bottom line. Once you start down this path, there's no turning back. The same goes for his ex-wife, Su Ro. Zhang Lingtian shouted, but he was still handcuffed and taken away. An old man, in front of Li Jun and the others, was captured like an eagle catching a chick. As for the nurse Xiaoyang, she was also ordered to put on clothes and taken away. Fang Hao regretted not being able to use his phone for tasks, otherwise, he could have taken pictures of the scene. Unexpectedly, he noticed a digital camera, likely used for taking photos or videos. After all, Zhang Lingtian was of an age where he might have been injured or overexerted and couldn't rise easily. Aside from this function, what else could the other party want with this digital camera? Of course, issues related to intimate relations wouldn't affect Zhang Lingtian. The old man wasn't married. No matter how much dirt he had hidden, Li Jun and the others couldn't do anything about it. If Li Jun hadn't found that fingerprint, making Zhang Lingtian a suspect, and they brought the police over, they would have been counterattacked by Zhang Lingtian. He discussed with Li Jun and decided to take away the digital camera. Li Jun knew it wasn't in accordance with the rules, but since Fang Hao was already here, which wasn't in accordance with the rules either, he provided cover for Fang Hao, allowing him to take the memory card from the digital camera. After Li Jun took his team back, Zhang Lingtian was detained, and someone was assigned to watch over him. Li Jun then sent Fang Hao back. Dr. Fang, thank you very much this time. Bringing down Zhang Lingtian will definitely ease the anger of the old master, Li Jun expressed his gratitude. Fang Hao was not optimistic. He said, before the conviction, anything is possible. Zhang Lingtian is quite capable, he won't easily confess. He will definitely deny everything, fake illness to get medical parole, and so on. He will resist stubbornly. Stirring up trouble in one place affects the whole situation. Just wait and see, after dawn, the gates of your police station will be trampled. I know, but we have evidence. We police will not succumb to any force. Li Yun solemnly shoot. Good. I'll go back and get some rest. Tomorrow, I still need to treat your grandmother. If there's good news, I'll let you know. Fang Hao bid farewell to Li Jun and returned home. The sound of him opening the door still alarmed the young woman from the Zhou family. She came out, asking, it's almost dawn, why are you just coming back? It's nothing. You go back to sleep, I'll rest in the study for a while. Brother-in-law, you sleep a bit more. I'll buy breakfast for you later. The young woman from the Zhou family didn't ask much and returned to her room to sleep. When Fang Hao woke up again, he found that his son was already having breakfast, and the young woman from the Zhou family was serving him. He felt quite guilty, so he sent a generous red envelope to the young woman. I'll accept it this time. No need to be so polite next time. The young woman from the Zhou family understood social etiquette and didn't refuse. Hospital parking lot, Li Dong's wife was waiting again. She gave a thumbs up to Fang Hao, saying, there's no conclusion yet, but you're amazing. No conclusion, don't rush to say. Keep a low profile. Accumulate good karma. Fang Hao was also anxious in his heart. Did Li Jun not directly interrogate Zhang Lingtian? Or did he not get the desired results after the interrogation? If it is confirmed that Zhang Lingtian is the culprit, he will be completely ruined and might end up in prison. If this cannot be confirmed, Zhang Lingtian will become even more cunning, more cautious, and less likely to give others opportunities. However, based on last night's behavior, Fang Hao also felt that Zhang Lingtian was just an ordinary person, not as unattainable as he seemed. In the ward, Mr. Cheng simply gave Fang Hao a thumbs up without mentioning a word. Fang Hao understood that it was a moment of confrontation, and it would take some time or some means to determine the winner and loser. Fang Hao couldn't control these matters. Putting aside his anxious mindset, he started the treatment. Around 10 o'clock, the chairman of the Blue Sky Group also arrived, brought by Huang Yidao personally from the traditional Chinese medicine hospital. After various examinations, Huang Yidao obtained the data and immediately went to find Fang Hao. He said, it's over. I brought back a dead person this time. The damage to the face is a bit too much. He took a deep drag on his cigarette and continued, do you know? I laid down some tough words over at the traditional Chinese medicine hospital, saying that there's no one I, Huang, can't save. Now, I might lose my reputation and have to leave Jiangdong City with my tail between my legs. Not necessarily. Fang Hao looked at the CT scans and other images. Coupled with his pulse diagnosis, a three-dimensional structure of the patient's body appeared in his mind. He devised surgical plans to remove the cerebral hemorrhage. At least 2 sets of treatment and rehabilitation plans emerged accordingly. Really? Big brother Fang, please save me, little brother. Huang Yidao quickly handed him a cigarette. Oh damn, he's playing the drama card. Fang Hao ignored him and, under the viewing light, said, I have a fast-acting solution. No need for surgery, we can use acupuncture to pierce through and extract the blood clot inside the patient's skull. Here's the pathway. I'll go, you do it. Huang Yidao, seeing the lines drawn by Fang Hao, felt his scalp tingle. He didn't have that kind of skill. No problem, time is of the essence. Let's go now. You go inform the patients. Sun Jingwei's family to sign the consent form. Signing, the letter of understanding has been prepared long ago. Huang Yidao exhaled a puff of smoke. He thought the most pleasant words in the world were what Fang Hao had just said. Fang Hao glanced at Huang Yidao and didn't say much. He went to prepare for the surgery. An hour and a half later, the surgery was successful. When Fang Hao returned to the temporary office in the inpatient department, he received a call from Li Jun, and he had a bad feeling about it. As expected, Li Jun said, "Dr. Fang, it's not good. The fingerprints I took back last night were switched, and they don't belong to Zhang Lingtian anymore." "Who has the opportunity and ability to do this?" "It's our deputy bureau. I suspect he switched them. But he's my superior, I have no evidence, can't directly accuse him, let alone arrest him." So what now? Just release Zhang Lingtian like this? "We have to let him go, but there's someone who came to surrender." "Who?" "Zhang Guan." "Zhang Guan?" Chapter 333, Don't Be Disheartened. I and Sister Chang have known each other for a long time. It happened at a gathering, everyone had a few drinks, and then we made the mistake that men often make, and we've been maintaining the relationship since then. That night, around 7 o'clock, Sister Chang came to me again. Her mood wasn't good, she didn't say anything to me, just went ahead, and it happened twice. Later, after she had some drinks, she asked me for money, 30 million. She wanted me to give it to her immediately, or else she would tell my wife, Chen Mei, about our affair. Oh, when she came in just now, she took advantage of my distraction, turned on the phone camera, and secretly recorded it. I tried to snatch it back, she dodged. Inadvertently, we ended up on the balcony, struggling. This time, she had nowhere to hide. She was willing to delete it, but then we ended up doing it on the balcony again. She was sitting on the railing, but she got too excited, leaned back without holding on to me, and fell off. A tragedy occurred. Afterward, I was extremely frightened. I hid, went through days of internal struggle, lost my appetite. I lost several pounds. I haven't had a good night's sleep, so I decided to surrender. In the car, Li Jun played Zhang Quan's confession for Fang Hao, then took a few deep puffs of smoke, saying, "This bastard's confession is full of inconsistencies, especially in the details. It's completely unreasonable. But damn it, we can't find evidence to refute him." He slapped the seat in frustration, it was so close, we could have thrown Zhang Lingtian in jail. Who would have thought that your deputy director was connected to Zhang Lingtian and even went as far as self-exposing? Fang Hao sighed, since everyone knows that Zhang Quan is covering for him, when the truth is revealed, this cover-up will also bring him trouble for perjury. Don't forget, as soon as your cousin wakes up, if she points out Zhang Lingtian, he'll still be in trouble. True. Dr. Fang, we're counting on you. Li Jun regained his confidence. Back in his office, Fang Hao was summoned to Mr. Cheng's ward for a private conversation. Mr. Cheng said, "Hey, the situation that was once as solid as a mountain has now been turned around. So, you might feel disappointed, but don't lose hope." Fang Hao said, "I'm not disappointed. I could anticipate this outcome. It's just that the opponent moved so quickly, abandoning the pawn in this way caught me off guard." Mr. Cheng said, "Indeed, the evil in human nature is not to be underestimated, and the goodness in human nature is not to be overestimated. It's difficult to judge and balance this." Fang Hao asked, leaving aside other matters, regarding the purpose behind this case, "What is the significance of you and the legal system?" Mr. Cheng said, "One important goal of the rule of law is to maintain social order. However, the force that maintains social order must also be vigilant enough to preserve its own integrity. Legal professionals, within the limits of reason, knowledge, physical capabilities, and skills, vary from person to person. There will always be inadequacies. Therefore, the difficulty of assessing human nature, whether it is good or evil, will persist. Every qualified legal professional should hold a rod of justice in their hearts." Seeing Fang Hao's lack of interest, she added, "Don't be disheartened. The rule of law is a long process. Today, Zhang Lingtian has temporarily escaped, but he has exposed himself. How can he hide his fox's tail again?" Fang Hao's eyes lit up, "Are you saying you'll keep an eye on him? As qualified legal professionals, we are like cockroaches that can't be killed. How can we admit failure because of a little setback? To be honest, isn't this also an opportunity?" Mr. Cheng smiled slightly and said, "The important evidence from the Jiangdong City Bureau was tampered with, indicating the presence of corrupt elements within the team. A struggle for rectification will come as scheduled. At this point, if you can find a flaw in Zhang Lingtian, he will have to face the pressure from the provincial or even central authorities. Do you think he has the capability for that? Striking the tiger?" Fang Hao agreed deeply, saying, "No. But is finding this flaw easy? Others may find it difficult or even impossible, but you can." Among all the people I've encountered over the decades, Zhang Lingtian was the smartest until I met you. However, after encountering you, I believe your brain is not inferior to his. Don't praise me. If I were as capable as you say, I wouldn't be stuck doing odd jobs at the provincial people's hospital. Fang Hao felt bitter in his heart. Being cuckolded by Zhang Lingtian and humiliated, does that mean the latter is smarter? Nonsense. Mr. Cheng said, that's because he is evil, and you are good. Evil disregards rules, tramples on them, so it may gain momentary pleasure easily. However, in the end, the true winner will only be you. The flaws of an evildoer are also easy to find. Behind his brightest moments, there must be the darkest shadows. Find him, catch him, make him have nowhere to escape. Everything sounds easy to say, but doing it is extremely difficult. I'll do my best. Fang Hao returned to his office and lit a cigarette. He knew Zhang Lingtian wouldn't be easy to deal with. This time, he didn't strike the tiger down in one blow, and he was undoubtedly disappointed. However, a chess player must consider the entire board. This was just one battle. The opponent abandoned a pawn to survive. The game wasn't over yet. Although the opponent had a lucky escape, he still held Cheng Yu as a hostage, indicating he had an ace up his sleeve. He also thought about whether Zhang Jing had entered the game or not. Overnight, Zhang Lingtian made a deputy director self-expose and forced Zhang Quan to testify. With such a swift and thunderous move, he probably wouldn't give Zhang Jing a chance to intervene. The appearance of Zhang Quan caught Fang Hao off guard. He had almost forgotten about this person. At that time, he didn't want to betray his wife, didn't want to become a scumbag like Zhang Quan, so he cut off contact with Zhang Quan and Chen Mei, and even skipped Zhang Quan's wedding. Why did Zhang Quan come out to take the blame? Why would it be him? Would this outspoken person, who had offended both the Cheng and Li families, really be able to live peacefully even if he wasn't immediately sentenced to death? Perhaps Zhang Lingtian had another move, a way to protect Zhang Quan. If it were me, since I let Zhang Quan voluntarily surrender, I wouldn't aim for complete innocence and release. There would only be an exchange of prisoners. Next, Zhang Lingtian would target someone from the Cheng or Li family, making them give up pursuing Zhang Quan, ensuring everyone's safety. As for the position of the deputy director, it was a pity but also an opportunity to see who dared to vie for it. The next step was to catch whoever dared to show themselves and deal with them ruthlessly. But, will I let you have it your way? Fang Hao thought of something, remembered the deleted call from Chen Mei, and dialed her number. The call went through, and he arranged to meet her that evening. Surprisingly, she asked if he wanted to bring Su Ro along and mentioned Su Ro's good alcohol tolerance. She didn't seem to know that Fang Hao had divorced. It seemed she was not very familiar with Su Ro, even though she was Su Ro's best friend. Of course, I don't know her well either. Chapter 334, Your husband is in trouble. After returning home and settling his son, Fang Hao headed to the bar, the same place where he had drinks with Chen Mei and others last time. Chen Mei was already seated, which surprised Fang Hao. After not seeing Chen Mei for some time, he noticed she didn't look as vibrant as before, lacking a bit of the vigorous business aura. Arriving early, the bar wasn't too crowded. The private booths appeared desolate. Fang Hao sat down and said, looking at your expression and complexion, it seems like you're suffering from post-honeymoon syndrome. It's been 1 or 2 months since the honeymoon, and you still look so haggard. Didn't you have a great time during your honeymoon? This reminded him of his honeymoon with his ex-wife, which was quite wild. They explored mountains and rivers during the day and indulged in passion at night, with little restraint. Of course, the initiative was entirely in his ex-wife's hands. Damn, didn't you see how I dressed up? You could at least give me some compliments. I really don't understand. With Susu's lively and enthusiastic personality, how can she endure your stolid and unromantic nature? Oh well, forget it. Since you're a doctor, take a look and see if I'm sick. I saw your medical skills in the newspaper, you don't have to hide it from me. We're still considered friends, don't be modest. We almost broke through that barrier last time. If I had known, I wouldn't have hesitated to eat you. Chen Mei cast a glance at Fang Hao, but still extended her hand, inviting him to check her pulse. Damn. So she agreed to meet me not just to seduce me but also to freeload off my medical skills. When Fang Hao invited her out, he wanted to gather information and didn't want to spoil the atmosphere. After examining her pulse, Fang Hao was surprised. Chen Mei had a significant health issue, a very serious one. However, he didn't rush to reveal it. Instead, he asked, Where's your husband? Don't mention it. I received a call from him in the early morning, saying it was from his overseas mentor, and he left immediately. So, tonight, I'm all alone. Seeing that Fang Hao didn't say much after examining her pulse, Chen Mei thought she was fine. She attributed her fatigue to the wild times during the honeymoon. Thinking about Zhang Quan going abroad and not hearing from him all day, she guessed he might still be on the plane. She decided to keep it low-key and not let anyone know. Zhang Quan couldn't satisfy her. When Fang Hao called her again, she thought of Fang Hao's size, coupled with Su Ro flaunting Fang Hao's merits. She entertained thoughts of cheating with Fang Hao. It was strange. Before getting married, the thought of sleeping with Fang Hao was just an impulsive idea, driven by jealousy of Su Ro. After getting married, she found her husband lacking, and the thought of cheating with Fang Hao became more urgent, more direct, purely for sexual satisfaction. Fang Hao could sense Chen Mei's desires, but he had no interest because Chen Mei was second-hand. Although he was now in good condition and could remarry after the divorce from Su Ro, there was no need to seek out a second-hand or be a third party. He didn't drink any alcohol or beverages, going straight to the point, saying, "You've been deceived." Zhang Quan didn't go abroad, he turned himself in at the Public Security Bureau. A few days ago, he had an affair with a woman on the balcony, things got out of hand, and she fell, turning into a vegetable. What? What did you say? Chen Mei heard what Fang Hao said, and her actions, pouring the drink, came to a halt. The glass was full, and the liquid spilled onto her thigh, causing a cold sensation that made her jolt back to reality. Fang Hao said, "I asked you out to talk about this matter. Don't believe it? The woman who fell off the building has become a vegetable and is currently at the Provincial People's Hospital, under my care. Her last name is Cheng, the same as the retired cadres from our provincial public security, procuratorate, and court. So, Zhang Qian is in trouble this time." Chen Mei was quickly digesting Fang Hao's words. At the same time, she dialed Zhang Qian's phone, but there was no answer. She called Zhang Qian's parents, and after a few evasive responses, they finally admitted it. They asked her to go home for more details. Chen Mei was stunned, her body slumping onto the sofa in the booth, her phone falling to the ground. She muttered, "Impossible, this is impossible." Fang Hao said, "I was just like you when I first heard about it. I didn't believe it. Although I don't know much about Zhang Qian, I thought a PhD like him, a high-level intellectual, couldn't make such a mistake." Chen Mei's mind was in chaos. She couldn't accept that her newlywed husband not only cheated with another woman but also caused that woman to fall off a building. "You should go back and talk to your parents-in-law and understand their attitude and how they will explain it to you. Tomorrow, come to the hospital, and I'll give you a detailed physical examination. Your health is also in trouble." Fang Hao didn't comfort her, and she didn't know what had happened, so there was nothing useful to coax out. He left. However, he might have discovered a fatal secret that Zhang Qian didn't want others to know. As long as it was confirmed, Zhang Qian would not be able to get through this smoothly using his connections. If Zhang Qian could be taken away in one fell swoop, and Zhang Lingtian couldn't use subsequent means, it would definitely force Zhang Lingtian to come up with other tricks. The more tricks he used, the more he exposed himself. Late at night, Fang Hao was studying the data when he suddenly received a message from his ex-wife. She had arrived in the capital and met with Zhou Fen. Fang Hao cared about Zhou Fen, so he asked his ex-wife to make a call. Shortly after, his ex-wife video-called him. "My mom's condition is normal, but she's unconscious, and they can't find the cause here. Husband, can you come over?" Su Ro made a request. "Of course, I can come over, but will your uncles and aunts allow me to get close to your mom? Will they let me examine her? They see me as an outsider because we're divorced." Fang Hao said, although many people didn't know that he and Su Ro were divorced, the elders in Zhou's family knew. "You come with our son. I miss him, and my mom can't forget about him. Let our son visit my mom. What can others say? Husband, I don't trust others' medical skills. I only trust you. I know about the newspaper article, and I read the report. I just found out how amazing my husband is. Tomorrow morning, after I finish my work at the hospital, I'll fly over with our son. Go to the attending doctor now, take pictures of the medical condition, and send them to me. I'll take a look first." "Okay." Fang Hao saw his ex-wife hang up the video call. Shortly after, his ex-wife sent some pictures, which were Zhou Fen's examination report. The heart was indeed fine, and it wasn't a heart attack. "Oh, these data are off. Is this where the problem lies?" Fang Hao studied it, lost in thought. Chapter 335, I'm afraid you'll harm me. The next day. After treating Cheng Lao, Fang Hao didn't receive a call from Chen Mei. He dialed her number, and she sounded lazy on the other end, as if she hadn't fully woken up. Fang Hao said, "I asked you to come to the hospital for a checkup. Why haven't you come? Are you not afraid for your life? I'll be taking a flight shortly, so I won't go to the hospital." "Going out? Where are you going?" "My in-laws asked me to take a break and sponsored me. I can go anywhere for vacation." "Running away?" It seemed that after Zheng Qian was protected by someone, he was sent directly abroad to live a carefree life with the substantial wealth accumulated by Zheng Lingtian. So, this was the reason Zheng Qian came out to take the blame? Fang Hao sneered, asked for Chen Mei's address, and found out that she had returned to her mother's house. Fang Hao hung up the phone and called Li Jun. They discussed the plan, and Fang Hao asked Li Jun to invite Chen Mei directly to the hospital. The reason, last night, a young man in a bar was forced by a woman to do something against his will. The young man reported to the police, and the authorities suspected Chen Mei. They needed to take her to the hospital for an examination. Since Chen Mei had been drinking last night and was also seen in the bar, she couldn't explain clearly. She was taken to the hospital, had blood drawn, a few strands of hair pulled, and then she was sent to Fang Hao's office. After a long wait, she saw Fang Hao come in. "Fang Hao? Why are you here? You have to testify for me. I had a drink last night and went home. I didn't do anything else." "Of course, I will testify for you, but not to prove your innocence last night. It's to prove that you were poisoned, chronically poisoned by heavy metals. Your current mental state, lack of energy, drowsiness, fatigue, even anxiety, and a slight headache, is not due to the honeymoon being too tiring but is a manifestation of mild heavy metal poisoning." Fang Hao held the test reports for trace elements and others that already indicated Chen Mei's heavy metal poisoning. I'm poisoned by heavy metals?" Chen Mei was shocked, and although she didn't understand medicine, she knew what this kind of poisoning meant. "Yes. I've reported to the police. They have gone to your marital home to investigate the cause of your poisoning." "Reported to the police?" "Your husband is a chemical engineering PhD. From his previous research papers, he has had contact with some heavy metals. So, whether he did it intentionally or unintentionally, he is the prime suspect." How could my husband harm me?" "This is just one possibility. It depends on what the police can find out. Cancel your flight, then go through hospitalization, receive treatment, and detoxify." I want to get a second opinion at another hospital. I can't just listen to your one-sided words." "Sure." Fang Hao ignored her, as he didn't want to take on the messy responsibility of treating Chen Mei. Anyway, Chen Mei would be monitored by the police 24/7. Before noon, there was excellent news from Li Jun's side. Excessive heavy metals were found in Chen Mei's toothbrush, cosmetics, and small clothes, indicating deliberate poisoning. Zheng Qian was a PhD in chemical engineering, so poisoning in this way was too simple, or maybe Zheng Qian had only this level of poisoning skill. Fang Hao thought with disdain. Hating a woman could really lower a man's intelligence. Fang Hao said, "I'm going to the capital now to see my son's grandmother. I should be back in the evening. I hope to hear more uplifting news when I return. Li Jun, don't let there be a repeat of the fingerprint incident last time." With a feeling of disdain in his heart, Fang Hao couldn't wash away the fact that Zheng Qian had poisoned someone. Chen Mei and her parents wouldn't let him off easily, so how could Zheng Lingtian use his connections? A PhD from Jiangdong University poisoning his wife would cause intense public discussion. Zheng Qian would face widespread condemnation, and even if Zheng Lingtian had supernatural means, what could he do? Moreover, the Chang and Li families had already suffered a setback. If they didn't learn their lesson, they might as well run into a wall and die. Sure enough, as soon as Fang Hao and his son got off the plane, he received the news from Li Jun that Zheng Qian had admitted to the poisoning. After hanging up Li Jun's call, Fang Hao saw two police officers coming over, one male and one female, colleagues arranged by Li Jun to receive and protect him. After exchanging a few pleasantries, they got into the police car. Surprisingly, it was an Audi. Fang Hao asked, "Are your police cars equipped so lavishly here?" "This isn't a patrol car, it's for receiving visiting leaders. Dr. Fang, your identity is special now, so we've made an exception." "Yes, Dr. Fang, we borrowed this car to enjoy a drive. We'll have a good time and then return. It'll be good for a while." The two police officers didn't hide anything. It seemed that only when you showed your usefulness would others treat you seriously. Fang Hao knew that if he couldn't treat Cheng Lao, he wouldn't receive such treatment. On the way, there was another piece of good news. Huang Yidao had called and informed him that he had persuaded Sun Jingwei. He obtained Sun Jingwei's signed agreement, and Sun Jingwei agreed to transfer his shares to Fang Hao. The lawyers were also expediting the process. In short, Fang Hao was now the major shareholder of Blue Sky Group. As the cost for purchasing the shares through the transfer, Fang Hao had spent several million yuan. Afterward, Blue Sky Group would enter bankruptcy protection, ceasing creditors like Jiangdong Group from liquidating the assets. Fang Hao's move was to annoy Zhang Lingtian. Although he might not come up with an effective plan after the bankruptcy protection period, unable to repay the debts and facing eventual liquidation, there was a significant risk that he might lose his money. Yet, Fang Hao still chose to be headstrong. Li Dong's wife also called to report Chang Lao's situation. Since Fang Hao had something in the afternoon and couldn't perform acupuncture treatment, Chang Lao felt anxious. Fang Hao assured Chang Lao that he would make up for it later in the day, soothing Chang Lao's worries. Li Dong's wife also told Fang Hao that they had received the case files from the provincial high court. They needed Fang Hao to arrange for someone to open the door to their house. The case files were related to the lawsuits arising from Zhang Lingtian's large-scale development project, involving not only land issues but also resettlement around the park. Fang Hao believed that people like Zhang Lingtian wouldn't handle things straightforwardly. They would inevitably trample on others' interests. Perhaps Zhang Lingtian had handled things appropriately at that time, but now, with the Chang and Li families openly reviewing the files related to the Southern Park, they were basically telling Zhang Lingtian that they were looking for trouble. Fang Hao's goal was to distract Zhang Lingtian, reducing the pressure on Li Jun and the others dealing with Zhang Qian. Arriving at the capital hospital, Fang Hao met Su Buiyuan. Led by Su Buiyuan, he entered the special care ward and saw Zhou Fen lying on the bed with an oxygen mask. No one from the Zhou family was present, so Fang Hao began to examine Zhou Fen. He asked Su Buiyuan, "Where's Xiaorou?" "I'm not sure. When she learned that you came, she left." Frowning, Fang Hao completed the examination and then called Su Rou outside. "Where are you? How's my mom?" "The situation is not optimistic, but I might already know the cause. I know how to treat it. Let's meet and talk." "No, husband, I can't meet you." "Why?" "I'm afraid you'll harm me. I'm afraid you'll make me miscarry because you don't value the child in my belly. You don't believe it's yours. Most importantly, you hate me. You're such a capable doctor, if you secretly do something to me, I'll miscarry. So, I can't meet you."